What if I told you that one woman defied the world's greatest empires, commanded armies, and shaped history with her intellect and ambition? This is the story of Cleopatra, the last queen of Egypt, and how she refused to be conquered. Cleopatra, a name that echoes through time, a woman who has been called everything from a seductress to a strategist, from a ruler to a legend. But beyond the myths and the Hollywood portrayals lies the truth. A woman who refused to bow, who refused to surrender, and who once declared, "I will not be triumphed over." Imagine ruling an empire on the brink of collapse, surrounded by enemies, with the greatest superpower of your time seeking to control you. Most would have accepted defeat. But not Cleopatra. Born in 69 BCE, Cleopatra VII was not just a queen, she was a warrior, a diplomat, and a master strategist. She spoke multiple languages, understood politics like no other, and wielded her intelligence as her greatest weapon. She was not just a ruler by birth, she was a ruler by choice. Her rise to power was anything but easy. At just 18, she became co-ruler with her younger brother, but palace intrigue, betrayal, and political unrest forced her into exile. Many would have accepted their fate. But Cleopatra was different. She saw exile not as the end, but as a beginning. And so, she plotted her return. And what a return it was. In one of the boldest moves in history, she smuggled herself into Julius Caesar's palace, rolled up inside a carpet. This audacious act didn't just win her an audience, it won her an empire. With Caesar's support, she reclaimed her throne, solidifying her power. But Cleopatra wasn't just about survival, she was about dominance. After Caesar's assassination, she aligned herself with another Roman titan, Mark Antony. Their partnership was more than romance, it was a calculated alliance. Together, they sought to rule the world. But Rome saw them as a threat. The battle lines were drawn. The war against Rome reached its climax at the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE. Outnumbered and outmaneuvered, Cleopatra and Antony were forced to retreat. But even in defeat, she refused to be paraded through Rome as a trophy. Instead, she chose her own fate. She took her life, ensuring that she would never be a symbol of conquest. So why does Cleopatra's story still matter? Because she represents the power of resilience. The refusal to be defeated. She teaches us that true power is not just about winning, it's about refusing to surrender. Cleopatra VII Philopator, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, remains one of the most compelling figures of antiquity. Her intelligence, political acumen, and resilience have cemented her place in history as a formidable leader and strategist. The phrase, "I will not be triumphed over," attributed to Cleopatra, encapsulates her defiance, unyielding spirit, and refusal to be reduced to a mere spectacle of Rome's conquest. This essay explores Cleopatra's life, her political strategies, alliances, and ultimately, her decision to end her life rather than submit to Roman humiliation. Born in 69 BCE, Cleopatra ascended to the throne of Egypt at just 18 years old after the death of her father, Ptolemy XII. She co-ruled initially with her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII, as was customary in the Ptolemaic dynasty. However, she quickly demonstrated her ability to govern independently. A woman of extraordinary intellect, Cleopatra was well versed in politics, science, literature, and philosophy. Unlike many of her predecessors, she learned the Egyptian language, endearing herself to her subjects as a true Egyptian ruler rather than a foreign Greek monarch. Cleopatra's early years as queen were marked by internal strife and power struggles. She was forced into exile due to a coup led by Ptolemy XIII's advisors. However, her resilience and strategic mind led her to forge an alliance with Julius Caesar, who arrived in Egypt in pursuit of his own military goals. Cleopatra famously had herself smuggled into Caesar's chambers, reportedly wrapped in a carpet, to plead her case. This act of audacity and charm won Caesar's favor, leading to her reinstatement as queen. Cleopatra's relationship with Julius Caesar was both personal and political. They had a son, Ptolemy XV, Caesarion, and Cleopatra solidified her power in Egypt with Rome's backing. However, after Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE, she faced a new set of challenges. Rome was plunged into civil war, and Cleopatra had to navigate the shifting political landscape carefully. Her next significant alliance was with Mark Antony, one of Caesar's most trusted generals. Their relationship was a combination of love, mutual ambition, and necessity. Cleopatra needed Antony's military support to maintain Egypt's independence, while Antony needed Egypt's wealth to fund his campaigns. Their union resulted in 3 children and a partnership that threatened the power of Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir and future Emperor Augustus. The propaganda war waged by Octavian against Cleopatra painted her as a seductress who had bewitched Antony, turning him against Rome. Cleopatra, however, was not merely a consort but an active political player. She played a crucial role in military campaigns and sought to establish an empire that could rival Rome's dominance. The growing tensions between Antony and Octavian culminated in the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE. Cleopatra and Antony's forces were decisively defeated, leading to their retreat to Egypt. Antony, broken and disheartened, ultimately took his own life upon receiving false news that Cleopatra had died. Cleopatra now faced the inevitable, the impending arrival of Octavian in Egypt. Unlike many conquered rulers who submitted to Roman rule, Cleopatra refused to be paraded as a trophy in Octavian's triumph, a fate she considered worse than death. It was then that she uttered the famous words, "I will not be triumphed over." Rather than endure humiliation and be reduced to a mere symbol of Rome's victory, she chose to die on her own terms. According to historical accounts, she arranged to be bitten by an asp, a venomous snake, ensuring her death was swift and dignified. Cleopatra's legacy endures not only as a ruler but as a symbol of female power, intellect, and resistance. Her reign marked the end of the Hellenistic era and the beginning of Roman dominance in Egypt. Though Rome sought to erase and vilify her, she became immortalized in history, literature, and art as a queen who defied the might of an empire. Her story has been romanticized and dramatized in countless plays, films, and novels, from Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra to modern cinematic adaptations. However, beyond the myth, Cleopatra was a shrewd politician, a skilled diplomat, and a leader who fought fiercely to preserve her kingdom's sovereignty. Cleopatra's refusal to be triumphed over was not merely an act of personal pride but a final assertion of agency in a world dominated by Rome. She knew that death was preferable to becoming a conquered queen paraded through the streets of Rome as a mere spectacle. Her life and choices illustrate the complexities of power, loyalty, and survival. Though she ultimately lost her kingdom, Cleopatra remains victorious in history, remembered not as a mere concubine or seductress, but as a queen who shaped her own destiny. If Cleopatra could stand against the might of Rome and shape the course of history, imagine what you can do when you refuse to be triumphed over. Quote.